Picture this. You are staring at a donut. And before you even take a bite, this massive chemical signaling cascade has already launched in your brain and your gut.
Oh, absolutely. And, if you've ever tried a crash diet to lose a few pounds and watch the scale just stubbornly refuse to budge, well, those unseen chemicals are exactly why.
Because we're so conditioned to think about weight loss as this pure math equation, right? Like just eat less, move more.
Right. But when your internal chemistry is misfiring, that math equation completely breaks down.
Welcome to this deep dive. Today, our mission is to really explore that hidden chemical warfare. Based on a guide by Chandrama Deshmukh, we are unpacking the 9 specific hormones that secretly dictate your appetite, your hunger pangs, and, well, your fat storage.
It is a lot to cover, but it's incredibly eye-opening.
It really is. Okay, let's unpack this, starting with the hormones I like to call the energy and stress managers. So insulin and cortisol. Think of insulin, which comes from your pancreas, like an overly enthusiastic warehouse worker.
I love that analogy. And to take that warehouse idea a step further biologically, insulin acts as the physical key that unlocks your cells so they can absorb glucose for energy.
Right.
But when you flood the system with too much sugar, those cellular locks just get jammed. That is essentially insulin resistance.
Oh, wow. So the sugar just stays in your bloodstream.
Exactly. The sugar stays there, and that overly enthusiastic worker basically panics and just hoards it all as visceral fat.
Which is why cutting back on sugar is step 1. It stops overwhelming the worker and normalizes that insulin response.
Yeah.
But then you stack cortisol on top of that.
Yeah, the stress hormone.
Right, secreted by your adrenal glands.
Yeah.
Cortisol is kind of like a stressed out manager demanding immediate comfort food to deal with an emergency.
And evolutionary biology explains exactly why that happens. Cortisol spikes in response to stress to give you quick energy to, flee a predator.
Sure, but today that predator is usually just an overflowing inbox.
Exactly. The biological response is the exact same, though. So ensuring you get plenty of rest and actually eat sufficient daily calories prevents that manager from hoarding fat to survive a perceived famine.
Okay, so storage is heavily influenced by stress and sugar. But once the body actually stores that fat, how does it know when to seek out more food?
Well, it relies on internal traffic lights.
Right, let's talk about those. Leptin, ghrelin, and neuropeptide Y, or NPY.
So leptin is secreted by your fat cells to tell your brain's hypothalamus, hey, we have enough stored energy, stop eating. It is the red light.
And ghrelin, which is released by your stomach, does the exact opposite, right?
Right. It's the green light shouting, I'm empty, feed me. And the source uses a great analogy for low or malfunctioning ghrelin.
Oh yeah, I remember this. It's figuratively like driving without traffic lights.
Exactly. Your brain simply never receives the stop or go signals, which leads to completely chaotic, unregulated eating.
And then NPY is the chemical, specifically driving those really intense cravings for carbohydrates.
Yeah.
But thankfully, we do have hormones waving the red flags to counter this, like GLP-1 and CCK, which are released in the gut.
They are, yeah. Along with peptide, YY or PYY. When food hits your intestines, these 3 hormones act as a brake system.
So they physically slow down your gastric emptying.
Yes, which is what gives you that very distinct, full-to-the-neck physical sensation.
But wait, hang on, I've got to challenge something here. I was looking really closely at the text, and there's a massive contradiction in the prescribed fixes.
Oh, how so?
Well, to balance NPY, as well as those brake pedal hormones, GLP-1, CCK, and PYY, the guide explicitly says you need to increase your protein intake.
Right.
But just a few paragraphs away, it states that fixing a ghrelin malfunction requires limiting your protein. So how are you supposed to balance hormones that require entirely opposing diets?
What's fascinating here is that this apparent contradiction actually proves there is no single magic pill. There's no universal diet.
So you can't just blindly switch to a high protein or low protein extreme.
No, not at all. Balancing this requires a highly tailored approach where you tweak your macros slowly and you track your personal hunger cues to see which specific hormone is the primary culprit in your own body.
I see, so it's a completely individual puzzle, kind of like with estrogen.
Yes,
Exactly. Produced by the ovaries. The guide notes that both excessively high and excessively low levels of estrogen can cause you to pack on extra pounds.
And the mechanism to fix it is brilliant. The text recommends eating more cruciferous vegetables, like broccoli and cabbage.
Just eating more broccoli fixes it.
Well, biologically, these veggies are packed with specific compounds and dietary fiber that actually bind to excess estrogen in your digestive tract.
Oh, allowing your body to safely excrete it rather than recirculating it. That makes so much sense.
It really does. We are talking about an incredibly complex engineering problem here. Managing your weight is clearly not just a failure of willpower. You're trying to fine-tune a whole hormonal symphony through very targeted individual diet and lifestyle adjustments.
It completely changes how you look at a sudden craving for junk food. It's not a moral failing. It is literally a chemical misfire.
Which really leaves us with a lingering question for you to mull over. If our fat cells, our gut, and our brain are constantly exchanging these unseen chemical signals that dictate exactly what, when, and how much we crave, well, how much of our daily free will around food is actually just our hormones doing the talking?